beautiful soul. Welcome. This is Rochelle with the Healing Rose. So today I am looking at my deck collection, which is kind of massive. I mean, it used to be very, very large. Before I moved 4 years ago, I got rid of more than half. And I realized that right now I actually have over 180 decks and I can't use them all. I can't get through them all, and they're taking up space, and I feel like decks I'm not using should go to homes that will use them and love them and appreciate them instead of sitting here gathering dust. So with that being said, let's get into this. So these are my medieval Celtic Grail sort of themed decks. They all kind of live on a shelf together. So let's just get this one out of the way. So this is a box set one, so it's kind of takes a bit more space. The Cathar Tarot, I got it when it came out, I think probably 2016. I want to say I bought this in 2016. I remember when it first came out, I was like, ooh, a new John Matthews. Yeah, 2016. So I feel like it was in like the fall of 2016 when I actually saw this. I have never used it. I have never really looked at the book. I think I've kind of popped a couple of them open, looked at the sort of gist of what was going on, and then put it back, because I know I opened it, I looked at the backs and went, ooh, I love the backs. And I mean, honestly, I looked at it and went, okay, you know, Tarot Parables, the Cathar Journey of Initiation, and invites modern seekers to follow the Cathar's path to self-knowledge and spiritual fulfillment. So the artist is Will Kingan, and he has done the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus, the Oracle of Dr. John Dee, and the Steampunk Tarot with John Matthews. Right, so John Matthews has given us several other decks. His name's pretty familiar in the tarot community. I loved the backs right off the bat. I was like, ooh, these are gorgeous. So I opened it up. I did a flip through, and so I looked and I was like, oh, these are bright. They're kind of interesting, you know, concept-wise. I flipped through them and I just did not resonate with them as much. And the reason I got this deck is because I have the one I'm going to show you next, which is you know, the same author, and I have a few decks by this author that I do really enjoy, and this one just didn't, you know, and it's sat in the box since then. And I opened it up and I did a flip through a couple months ago because I thought, oh, maybe if it's been sitting there, maybe if I look at it again and go through it, maybe I will feel called to work with it again. And by flipping through it, I realized that it's not a deck for me. It just does. I have no call to work with it. I don't look at it and go, ooh, I should play with that one today. Right? Or, oh, I really love the art on that. I'd love to do a reading with it so I could look at it again. So this one's going to go in Cathar Tarot. I kind of already knew that right when I started. I thought, oh, declutter, that'll be the thing. Okay, so John Matthews, the Grail Tarot. Let me just move these to the side here. I have so many decks piled up since I started going through my cupboards, and then I thought, it's an easy way for me to commit to getting through them is to actually sit and go through. So the Grail Tarot, this, the artwork is Giovanni Caselli. This came in a box set. I don't think I have the box anymore. I might, because I tend to keep these things, so they're probably actually in my trunk. I found this fabulous trunk and it held all my cards, and then I kept buying cards, and then I needed another trunk. And then I was like, cool. So St. Martin's Press, this came out in 2007, which is probably about the time I bought it, because I bought it when it was quite new. I think it was the first time I had seen it, and I went, oh, look at that. I was literally going into the bookshop and metaphysical store once a week to get decks when they first released. So, all right, let me move this out of the way so we can appreciate this. Where's it? That can go there. So this deck is so cool, and I haven't done a flip through of it yet, and I feel like I should, because it's kind of amazing and that it's a full panorama. Like, the scenes all there, it's all one scene. It's absolutely like everything flows together, everything lines up all the way through the majors and all the way through the minors. So there's one big panoramic scene when you lay out all of the majors, and then there's a different panoramic scene for each suit. So it's very, very cool. I read with this deck for ages. Like, this deck, I did so many readings with it. It reads really beautifully for me, and it's to me, it was very interesting in how well it actually paired with my Rider-Waite deck. So that was really interesting, you know, and the runes. I would do this Rider-Waite and runes all together, and the readings were fantastic. So that's staying. All right, so John Matthews. Well, let's just pull out the other John Matthews. Wildwood Tarot. So Mark Ryan and John Matthews together with this stunning artwork of Will Worthington. So it comes in a box set, which is why it lives in a bag, because it doesn't have a... I've trimmed this as well. Took off all of the three of the big white borders, which is why it has a little stripe at the bottom. So I need to find the perfect color felt to match the back so I can take that stripe off of there and then edge it. I feel like it needs to be edged. So, but the artwork here is gorgeous. Will Worthington is like phenomenal. I love, 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 love his art. It's wonderful. And the reason why, now, most of this is like, you know, you can tell the Green Woman, the Empress, it kind of comes together, you know, the Four of Cups, you can see there's 4 vessels. You know, our journey, our death card is very, very obvious. The 6 of bows, there's 6 bows. And then you get to the suits, and we've got like the king is the kingfisher. We've got the page of vessels is the otter. So I don't know why they do this to me. These things never stick. They just never quite stick in my brain. So when I'm reading the deck, as soon as I get to these mystery animal creatures, if I don't have the title there, I'm never going to remember what it is to even look it up. Oh, this is my favorite card in the whole deck. That 6 of Arrows is stunning. Absolutely stunning. I mean, the whole thing's beautiful, right? But the courts throw me off. That's why we still have the titles at the bottom, because I'm still learning this deck. And I still have to, if I'm totally honest, I'm not 100% competent with it. I still have to go through, and I love the Ace of Bows. This card is so beyond beautiful. Like, the artwork is, I am so in love with this deck, right? I'm so in love with this artwork. Like, beautiful art. Absolutely beautiful. I want to feel like I'm really competent with it. I want to feel super comfortable with it because I love it. So it still needs more practice, which is fine, but it's staying, right? So here's another John Matthews deck that I absolutely love. So I was kind of really surprised that I didn't resonate at all with the Cathar Tarot, to be honest. Okay, so speaking of Will Worthington, let's get this one out of the way. This one I'm 90% sure it's leaving. I'll decide it over the next 2 minutes here. The Druid Craft Tarot deck. So most people will be quite familiar with this. Illustrated by Will Worthington from Philip and Stephanie Carr-Gomm. This was recommended to me because I love the Wildwood Tarot, and I had several John Matthews decks, and I was getting a lot of Celtic sort of themed things at the time, and so this was recommended to me at my local metaphysical store. So I was like, yeah, why not? And I love big cards, and I was like, I want tiny cards and I want super big cards, not regular size cards. Like, I was on a weird kick about getting giant tarot cards, like the bigger the better. And then I got this deck, and the artwork is still lovely. I mean, the Fool looks great. I love his little black dog. The Magician, he's kind of fabulous. The High Priestess, like, why doesn't she have nice clothes? It's just like the most ancient tattered thing. Like, okay, there's a choice. The Lady, it's beautiful. It's from the cover. We have the Lord. You know, I was kind of like, okay, the High Priest, like, something, you know, I was kind of like, oh, it's beautiful, but it just feels a little off. Then I realized it was really awkward. I shuffled it once and realized it was really awkward to use. Wasn't sure how I felt about it. The Hanged Man is like full on. So I was like, well, that's a fair amount of nudity. And immediately then I went, okay, well, like this might be like kind of okay here, you know, but this is like a little bit full on for some of my clients there. So I kind of went, okay, well, I can't use this to read for other people now. It's a little too much for the people that I know are my, you know, that are my reading clients. They would not resonate with it. I thought, well, maybe just for myself. But then as I went through it, I just don't have the same resonance. It's beautiful. And so I flipped through it. I tried to give it a shuffle. The shuffling was very uncomfortable. And some of the things, like in the Pentacles, she looks like she's in a pretty barren garden for being at the point in your life when you're sitting comfortably. He looks like he's got a massive headache, and he's just really irritated with people around him. Like, he looks like he's bored, like he's just really done. Doesn't look happy to be where he is at all, you know? I mean, just beautiful. Absolutely. Like, this is such a beautiful deck, but it just, okay. When I go, when I look at it, I know right then, that's my sign. Where'd I put the other half? Okay. So because it sat on my shelf, it's been shuffled once, it's been flipped through. Now this would be the third time looking at it. And it's probably been since 2016. So in what, 8 years? It's gonna go. That was easy. Okay. Let's look at this little guy. So this little guy, the Tarocchi di Leonardo. Okay, that's the Italian side. The Da Vinci Tarot. So 78 cards. The box. Now, I got this secondhand, and the box was already beat up like this. And it never wants to stay closed. And that's because when you look inside, this is the cards and book, and this is like the space left over. Like, what's going on here? And at first when I got it, I thought, oh, like I got shorted cards. So I went through and was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I was counting out all the cards, and they're all here. And they're all like absolutely lovely. So it's really beautiful, you know, Da Vinci, stylized, really soft, this kind of lovely slate and sage colored, beautiful cards, beautiful artwork, of course. There is a bit of nudity in the deck, because it's like Da Vinci, it's based on Da Vinci and his existing drawings and style of drawings. And so there is a fair amount of anatomical beautiful works. And I mean, that's what he was known for. So that and his fantastical inventions. So it's beautiful. And I thought, lovely little pocket deck. And for a little bit, a very short period of time, I had it in a little velvet bag, not the box, because the box wouldn't stay together. You couldn't put the box in your pocket and expect to pull it out and have the cards not come flying out the bottom. And just, I think, poor planning on the part of Lo Scarabeo, because we have our 78 cards, we have our notebook in here, and there's still like a lot of room. So this ended up just living in this little bag on my shelf, and I found I ended up just using a regular deck of cards that I kept just in my purse. So I feel like this can go, because I haven't used it in a decade, right? So it can go. Here's another deck that I have never used. So I got it. It was new. Again, this I probably got this around, I want to say like 2009 maybe. And I took the plastic off that it was wrapped in, and the lid just comes right off. So the lid has always just kind of like, if you have it sitting on its side, the lid will, so it's been stored upright. And I've flipped through it. I don't think I've ever shuffled it. I may have shuffled it once, then put it back in order. But it's is beautifully gilded. The backs are lovely. It is a high gloss. We've got a couple of extra cards. We've got the book, which I've never opened. When does it say? Yeah, 2003. So, I mean, the deck's been out for a while. It's still available for purchase because it's US Games. It has not gone out of print. And they're lovely. I do wish, however, that the borders had been this bright color for the borders versus this really dull color. But, you know, here we go. Just flip things all the different ways. I'm so used to flipping cards ever. It's like I'm on autopilot. So it's lovely. It's gorgeous. It's this sort of compiled, you know, compilation art, collage art almost, of medieval images from medieval and Renaissance paintings that have been put into a rider weight style of deck. My English is suddenly failing me for a moment. I've never used it, so I can go. I got it because I was doing all these medieval festivals. And I was thinking I would, you know, do a booth and do readings, and having some nice medieval style decks might be the thing. I just never used it. So, okay, here's one that is a great debate for me. So this is the Tarot of the Holy Grail. This is a Lo Scarabeo deck. Lorenzo Tesio, artwork by Stefano Palumbo. It's gorgeous. I love the artwork. It's so beautiful. Like, just right off the bat. Soft, fluid, the really interesting kind of Art Nouveau treatment of landscape and fabric textures is just lovely. Absolutely lovely. Very much like a Rider-Waite themed deck, but not what I would call a Rider-Waite clone. Like our Seven of Swords doesn't show someone sneaking away with a bundle of swords, right? I love the movement in this Knight of Swords. It is now, of course, because it's a Holy Grail, so it does have that Templar Christian theme to it. But it's absolutely beautiful. So it comes with a fairly chunky book because we have multiple languages. I think there's 5 or 6 languages in the book. And the backs are absolutely beautiful. Now, I would have loved if the borders were in this beautiful, like the offset of the green on here would have been amazing. Lost opportunity. But when I look at the deck overall, like this is a solid maybe. Because it's light and it's beautiful. I feel like maybe what I need to do is, I think what I'm going to do is actually sit right after I finish this video and do 4 or 5 spreads with it immediately and see how it reads for me. And if it reads well, it stays, and if it doesn't, it goes. I feel like that's fair. Okay. Let's do this one because it's sitting here. All right, so Lord of the Rings tarot deck and card game. So this is, let me see. So this is a US Games deck that came out quite a while ago. Is there a copyright on it? Copyright Tolkien Enterprises. Fascinating. Okay. What does it say? 97. I think this one has gone out of print. I'm not 100%, which is, it's kind of unusual for US Games to have a deck that goes out of print. So there's the card game, and you play it, and I have the book somewhere. I have the book with it, and I don't know where I have placed the book, but the book actually tells you how to play the game. Right, so there's a quick guide to the victory points, and so you can play this as a card game, like a competitive card game with other people. Or you can just have it as a tarot deck. So it's got this interesting kind of, like, we've got a symbol, we've got this brick wall here with the titles running horizontally or vertically. Good God, my English today. And then a little script at the bottom that describes the movie scene, which, interestingly enough, they do not always quite resonate with traditional tarot meanings, but it's pretty close. So, I mean, you can just read off 2 of Wands, and what is 2 of Wands telling you? 2 of Wands, Gandalf stands against Sauron and unites the free peoples against Sauron's evil powers. Not really the traditional tarot meaning of 2 of Wands, but, you know. So I guess it's like, yeah, there's like a lot of border going on, very little image. I'm not sure if this is going to stay or not. So again, I feel like this is one where, first off, I need to figure out where I've tucked the book away. But also, I feel like this is one where I need to spend maybe a little bit of time, just maybe do a few spreads with it. And if it has to go, it has to go. If I've reached a point where either I can use it to read with, or I can't. And if I can't, it's gonna go. All right. So, let me think. Did we do... I don't think we did this one yet. Maybe we did. I don't know. I'm kind of exhausted from just looking through the decks that I have, from counting them. Oh my, so many decks. So this is the Golden Botticelli Tarot by Atanas, Atanassov. It's a Lo Scarabeo deck. So really interesting, lovely. So we have the works of Botticelli, his characters, images and peoples, all styled in a way that sort of connects with. It's so interesting that they use this image for the stars, because this is such a classic Three of Cups image. We have the birth of Venus for the world, which is lovely. The background on all the wands is this really pale kind of gold color for that little nod to fire. So for cups, interesting that this is the Three of Cups, much less celebratory. Interesting, like interesting choices sometimes made, you know, but lovely. So all of the swords and cups have different shades of blue background, and then the pentacles have this lovely peachy gorgeous color, and the backgrounds are like, and it probably doesn't even show up until it gets up close. So you see all this ornate scroll work. It's actually all metallic, so it's all shiny, glossy fantasticness. I love this. I love this deck. It's absolutely staying in the collection. Okay. So this one is staying. Alrighty. Okay, so we did Wildwood, we did the Grail Tarot, we did Botticelli. Let's look out. I think just these two left. Okay. Whew. Alright, we're flying through. Okay, so both of these, this is the Legend Arthurian Tarot from Anna Marie Ferguson. And this one is the Llewellyn Tarot, artwork by the same artist. Also, Anne Marie Ferguson. I thought I had, oh yeah, it's right here. Yeah, so this one came in a large box set with the book, which I love the stories in the book, with each of the characters in the majors. So we have this really wonderful bit of storytelling about the characters that are in the majors that is just kind of fabulous. So, but I don't read with it that often, right? And this one I used to read with, and I haven't for a while. And honestly, it's because these cards are the slippiest, slidiest, beautiful, smooth. Like if you want to do like a beautiful like card fan, like it's fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. The level of manipulation you can do, but they're so slick. I tend to drop them all the time and make a big mess where we're playing, you know, 78 card pickup. The shuffle is lovely on them because they're so slick, but I tend to be super clumsy. So, but let's just take a quick peek. So same artist, very different mood to the same cards, even though the Llewellyn deck is based on the myths, legends, and culture of medieval Wales. So there is a lot of that Arthurian imagery and concept that's in there. So there's a lot of nod to King Arthur and the stories like Merlin and, you know, but it's from more of a Welsh perspective. And this one is very much the, very much like just based on the stories from that time period, right? All those different characters, you know, Sir Gawain and Gwyneth and all the Percival, Morgoth, with the Holy Grail. Look at that with the 9 Morgans. I love that is in there. This is very like, to me feels very kind of like Rider-Waite clone style. This one not quite so much. There's a bit of a divergence here where we still have some of that, but then when we have the suits, we have like this little hip image in the corner. So it's quite, they're quite different. I get like this sun moon feeling off of them. So the Lady of the Fountain for justice. We have our 10 of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords. Like, it's gorgeous. I keep feeling like I'd probably use it more if I trimmed it down. This is just like, it's lovely. I can't. How do you decide between the two? So I had recently come across that this might actually be out of print. So I don't want to declutter it if it has gone out of print before being 100% sure that it doesn't belong in my collection anymore, that I'm not going to use it, right? Because it's going to be really hard to replace. Whereas the Llewellyn Tarot is still very easy to get your hands on, right? It's a very popular one. And it is gorgeous, right? It's kind of like sun, moon. What are we doing here? They're both lovely. This, I feel like these, if I actually trimmed them down and took just the sides off, I feel like that might be really, really kind of lovely. There's still this great big top border. I don't mind it so much, but I want to take the tops off. I have seen it done where we take off the titles as well. I feel like maybe I need to be a little bit more familiar with it before I were to cut it down to that point. I don't know. That looks really good just like that, right? Hard to say. Choices, choices. So there's the big debate. Like some of them, like I would always know that that's the Nine of Swords no matter what, you know? The Star, like, yeah. It might just take me a moment to look at it and recognize it, right? Because it's not a deck I use all the time. And there's a reason I don't use it all the time. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I still love it, so I think for now, I think I'm going to give it a solid month of use, I think is what it needs to have. It needs to actually have, like, I need to be using it to see and know. And then I can make an informed decision. All right. So where are we at with this? All right. So I have 4 decks that are going. I have the Cathar, the Druid Craft, the Da Vinci, and the Golden Tarot. I have 2 maybes that I just need to, I'm just going to do a few readings with them, and if they don't 100% resonate, they're going. And then we end up keeping, let me see, what are we keeping? We're keeping our Grail Tarot, the Wildwood Tarot, the Legend, and Llewellyn, and Botticelli, and then there was the, I swear there was more. I thought I had another deck that I tucked away somewhere, but I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for the first bunch. So we've culled for 2, 3, 4, 5 yes, 2 maybe, and 4 gone. Yeah, I think we're doing good. Okay, so if you're still here, thanks so much for sticking around. I have a bunch more of these I'm going to do. As I said, I have like 180 decks, and I would really like to narrow that down to ones that I just absolutely, I pick it up and I love it and I use it, and it's absolutely like, oh, has to stay in the collection, versus ones that are like, I don't know. So yeah, I feel that's an important point, right? If we love it and we use it all the time, I think it wouldn't matter how many I had if they were all in a constant use of rotation. But because they are not getting all the use all the time, this is why I think that I need to actually clear them out, because I wouldn't feel like they were clutter or taking up space if they were in constant use, right? So if you're still here, thanks so much for watching. If you wanted to like the video, that would be amazing. If you feel called to subscribe, then, you know, stick around, because I probably have at least 5 more of these videos to do to get through everything. I'm thinking maybe more than that. Ooh. All right, here we go. On to video number 2. Awesome. Have a fabulous week. Have an amazing day. And take care.